Hey everyone, it's Rea. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Earlier this week, I posted in the So Whatever Facebook group a notebook cover that was inspired by the Moondance. I think we're all familiar with the Moondance, or most of us probably are. It's a great notebook cover pattern by Sincerely Jen, and I wanted to make something that I could use and bring to work when I do take notes. I must admit, I don't take a lot of handwritten notes anymore at work. I tend to use OneNote. It's what we use within our company, and so I do the majority of my note taking there these days. But I do still sometimes have to take some handwritten notes, and I have very basic notebooks that I use. One, for example, would be like this. I have a whole system of these notebooks from Levenger. It's a Discbound notebook, as you can see, and you can get them also similar systems at, I know, Office Depot or Max, whatever it is now, maybe Staples as well. But it's a really nice system to use because you can customize it a ton. The covers come right off, the pages come out easily, you can switch things out. Really nice. I wanted something though that I made to have at work, and so I made my own covers for them. So you may have seen these, the posts that I had with these. Let me make sure I can, there we go. You can sort of, sorry the light is a little off. I'm just having some issues tonight with my light. But regardless, you can sort of see these. They're so pretty. I used some more, frosted vinyl and some jelly vinyl to back it up there as well. And people really liked it a ton. So I thought, you know what? Let's make a video for it. And that's what we've done. We've made not just those, but we started also with some Moondance. So we're going to make today this super, super cute Moondance. Oh, I'm holding it backwards, sorry. Super, super cute Moondance notebook. The standard pattern. So this is for a junior legal pad, whatever these pads are called. But it's just the normal pattern where you top load right here. You've got a little pocket here. I do omit the business card holder. I don't use business cards any longer, and so for me it's not necessary, but fun. I mean, it's so easy, great if you need to do batch sewing. These would be great for teacher gifts. They're just great all around. So we're going to make one of those. We're then going to modify one, and we're going to make it like this. This was supposed to be the 5x7 notebook. It clearly is not quite the right size because, you know, reading is hard, and I didn't bother to look at the size that it needed to be. But that's okay. It's still pretty. I have some velvet elastic to close it, and then on the inside, we still have our normal little slot here, but you would put the covers of your notebook in like that. And so, very pretty. We're then going to change it up and do one entirely out of clear and jelly vinyl. I love this one. I absolutely love doing with clear and jelly. You can see inside we still have the little pocket, but this is one where you put the sides in like that. I just love this one. I love this one. And then we're going to do the version that people saw online, and it's going to be something like this. There we go. So you can see, again, I'm using some clear vinyl and some translucent under on the back, but I also have a version like this where it's just jelly vinyl, and you open it up, there you go, and it's disc bound, so it's something where if I decide, oh, you know what, I don't want to use that one anymore, I can just take off the cover, pull out the actual cover that I've got for the disc system. Oh, sorry, I need this, and I could put over a new cover like that, and then I just pop it on, and like this. Take a second, but there we go. They just pop onto the discs. There we go. New cover on. There we go. Sorry, you can sort of see. I love this print from Mormino. And if I go inside, there it is. There's the front. So this is another one where, you know, I just slide it in. I could actually probably put something in there if I really wanted to, but it's just, this is a really fun project. There we go. Sorry, got to get the light right so you can sort of see how I did that. So we're going to go over this. These last couple ones, everything that I did with the jelly and clear vinyl, so fast. So fast. So if you're like me and you bought lots and lots of jelly and clear vinyl because, of course you did, it was pretty, and you were going to make lots of it, and you didn't make as much as you thought. this is a great thing to do, because why not? Why not have a bunch of these, switch it up? Gifts, as I said, these are great gifts to make, teacher gifts, thank you gifts, whatever. They're wonderful. So let's get started making these. So for the first moon dance, we're going to do just the traditional moon dance. This is for the junior legal size pad. So what we have here, let's take these apart a little bit. We have our main piece right here. So I've cut it per the pattern, and you want to adhere the 2 pieces of Decaville Heavy to it per the directions in the pattern. I have put this little arrow here for myself so I can see where the top is as I'm adhering the other pieces, because I don't want to accidentally do things upside down. So that's why I've got that there. We'll then have the center piece that's going to go just like that. We're going to have 2 pieces like this. And then we're going to also have this one right here, and that's going to be our little pocket. It does normally have a spot right here for like a business card. I don't use business cards any longer at work, and so for me, I just don't see the need of adding it. I like the idea of just having my tag there though. So we're going to use that. This piece here is where we're going to put the pad. It's going to slip in right here, as you can see. So I have already adhered to it the Decaville Heavy. It's in the wrong spot. So one thing to note, pay attention to the pattern. I had drawn a line where it needs to go, and I centered my Decaville Heavy on that as opposed to putting it at that line, but it's still going to work. I'm fine. It's still within it. The whole point of that is to provide some stability, and so it works. The line, my cut line, is not exactly where it should be, but let's make sure a little straighter, but it will work. I measured it. It should be okay. So this is what we're going to do for the first one. We're going to do this entirely by the pattern, nothing changed. And so you'll see it comes together super quickly. We're going to start with sort of the normal Moondance Notebook cover. And so you can see you've got this piece here. I'm going to sew down my tag. I don't have the business card holder, as I mentioned before. I just don't use business cards any longer. So for me, putting on there isn't important, but I'm going to sew on my tag. I am going to back stitch when I put it on. Normally with tags I might tie the threads off behind, but because I'm not going to be putting any kind of lining on this, I'm going to leave this raw. I want it to be really secure, and if I'm going to have papers or other things sliding into this pocket, it'll be rubbing up against that where it might be tied. And not that if I tie it, it's not a good tie, but I want to ensure that it's strong, and then my tag isn't going to come off. So regarding placement, I just kind of looked to see where I liked it, and that's where it is. Got my stitch length at a 4, which is what I like for tags. And so let's just sew this on. Got that all sewn in place. And so just to show you on the back, I mean, even though I back stitched this, I did still pull the threads through and melted them and then put a dab of glue there. I just want that to be really secure. So the next thing we need to do now is attach this to one of our side pieces. And so I've got my piece right here. This is the piece without the Decaville on the top, without the slit. I'll show you the slit in a moment. So it's just going to be sort of the piece on the left when we put this all together. And so I'm going to lay this down. Now the pattern does tell you exactly where to put it. I am going to sort of eyeball it a little, though. Let me see, do I have a ruler nearby? Yes. And so I'm going to sort of measure it where I want it to go. Oops, there we go. I'm going to go here. This is where I will admit it gets a little challenging when you're just working off of a cylinder arm. You don't have that full table there. I mean, you know, it gets a little harder. But I'm going to try to make sure, there we go. And I often will go over to my table, but I want to do this so you can see it. So I'm kind of aligning this. As I said, the pattern will tell you where it needs to go. There we go. I think that looks Looks good enough. Let me see. See if it looks straight. And not even close. So I am going to go take this over to my cutting table so I can get this properly aligned. You can see it's way off right there. What I did do, you probably heard that, I did put some double-sided tape around the sides that I'm going to be sewing down. And so I'll be right back. We'll go take a look at this once I've got this tape down so we can sew it in place. Much better. Sometimes you just have to be able to stand and, or at least look down on it. And I don't look down enough on this to be able to do that. Okay, so we're now going to sew this into place. We are going to back stitch. You could tie them off behind, but again, you want this to be nice and strong. You might be putting things in. And so I'm going to start here, go down this way and up here. And that's where we're going to end. Because if you want to think about how this would work, you'd want to be able to slide something in. And so you want these 3 sides to be the ones that are secure. So we're just going to do those at 1/8 of an inch. And sorry, I can see a smidgen of tape that's showing through. This is raw edge, so if you're concerned about any fuzzies or whatever, you might want to burn those down first, but I'm okay with this. Sorry if my arm got in the way there. So I did back stitch, but I can probably, yeah, I'll still pull it back. Just good to pull it back to get it out of the way, but it's back stitched. So I can just cut that off. I'm not concerned about tying that down. Same here. Let's see. That one's pretty locked, so it's okay. Great. So that's done. So actually, let me switch these. Sorry. There we go. It's getting in my way. Okay, so this is all set. Now you can say I did also put tape all around the sides. I could put tape down the middle to help it adhere down, but this should be sufficient. On this one here, so this is the other one. So again, I showed before. So what I did to cut this was that per the pattern. So I mentioned when I showed the materials, my location of this is wrong, but it's still the same thing. I would measure the distance that it mentions to do. I put 2 holes on the side there, on each side. The tape is covering it a little here, but that's okay. It'll move. There we go. And then I just cut a line in between. The goal is really, you want it on the Decaville Heavy because that's going to provide support and avoid having anything here tear or stretch. And then I put tape around the sides here. Now this one, it's important not to put tape anywhere but around the sides. If you put it anywhere in the middle, you won't be able to get your notebook in. So make sure it's only around the sides there. We're ready to assemble this now. So let's get our piece here. So I've got my main piece. This is such a pretty print. So this is from the Emporium. I don't believe there's any of this available right now, but if it's something that you like, you can always talk to Brittany about it. She can order things for you. That's a 2 roll minimum, 2 rolls of the same print. It's not just 2 rolls. You have to have 2 rolls of the same print. So even if she doesn't have it in a current pre-order, she could certainly do that for you. So we're going to do this. Now I marked it and I already put on, there's this center piece. This is one of the pieces per the pattern. And it just, here, I can pull this back a little. I just put some double-sided tape on the back and put it down in the middle to have it aligned. That's going to sort of be that middle part, a little peak of color there, pop of color. So it's fun. Okay, so what we want to do, we can start with this side here. We're going to take off our tape and we're just going to lay it down. I mean, this really is when it gets kind of pretty basic. This is a great thing if you want to do some production sewing because it's so fast. And so what I'm going to do is align it as best I can in the corners. That tape is going to help keep it in place. Remember, we can do a little trimming after, but try your best to get it as lined up as you can right now. And one thing to note, depending on the vinyl you've used, when you had to put the Decaville on, both here and on the other piece, things sometimes shrink. I mean, it's fabric, basically, so it could shrink. So just don't be surprised if maybe you do have to trim things down because of that. I think that's looking pretty good there. And if I'm concerned, it's like this little piece is wanting to go. I'm going to actually clip it right there. I just don't want it to go anywhere. So I'm going to put that one down. Let's put this one down now. I'm going to take the tape. Oops, don't take it all off. There we go. Okay, and so we're going to align this one as well. It's kind of sticky, so if you want to just take off a little bit of the tape at a time, you can. But I think I'm good there. So I'm kind of aligning my two corners first. I think that's going to be the easiest thing. If I get this corner in here, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Trying to really get that corner together, and then maybe just press a little there, and then get this corner aligned. Then I can put the rest together. Now, there we go. I'm going to go turn it over. I can see my black is peeking up a little bit, so I'm going to make sure it does, kind of go through, get it so that it aligns nicely here. There we go. Knowing I can trim it, but great if you don't have to, or don't have to very much. Kind of helping it. Okay, and get it all aligned here. Let's look at that. Oh, that looks good. Oh, nope, does not. You can see right there. I just need to shift that a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think we're good now. Yeah, I think that looks good. Kind of really pressing down that tape so things don't move. Okay, so now what we want to do is simply sew around. We're going to, and you can decide exactly how you might want to do this, because our goal is to sew all the way around, but also to sew up here as well, because we need to hold these down. And that's going to sort of also create a spine right there. So you can certainly go all the way around and then come back and do it. You could do some kind of Pac-Man-y kind of thing where you're going around. I'm going to go all the way around, and then I'm going to go like that. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start on the back, and I think, where do I want to start? You can sort of decide what would be best for you. This is where we're going to end up. We'll just go down here. But I am going to start in the back. Okay, so 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And, sorry, just realized I want to try to align this a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to clip it even, try to help it stay right where I want it to be. I know I can trim it later, but so much better if it's cleaner to start. Okay, now let's do this. 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to start right in the corner. I am going to back stitch. Okay, so that first part is done. I'm going to snip these. It's not the greatest that I've done, but you know what? I use black, and there's a lot of black on this, so it'll be kind of hidden. I could see things were, this is a little bit of a stretchy material, so it's stretched a little bit, but that's okay. I'm okay with that, but otherwise that's sewn down. I can see here that's pulling up a little. It pulled up more than I'd like. I think it just stretched, but it'll be fine. What I do need to do is I need to go through, I think when I edge coat, I have to remember I want to edge coat these as well, because I could see it's starting to fray just a little bit right there. But now what we're going to do is we're going to sew down these edges here. Now I could, of course, sew across here again, just sort of double up my stitches in that one area, but I think I'm okay doing it this way. I know it's more areas that are more threads that I'm cutting, but I'm okay with that. And same thing on this side. And we are basically done. Let me just get that. There we go. Might need to do, let me see, do I need to do a little trimming? Just maybe a smidgen right there. But otherwise, that really is about it. So let's close this. Now, of course, with time, it'll sort of, and you have it folded, it'll keep that crease there. But let's get a notebook, put that in. I'll confirm that even though I put that in the wrong spot, oh, that still works. There we go. Number 1. So again, I have really just a smidgen to trim up. There's a little bit right here, just a smidgen, and there's a teeny bit right here on this side. Yeah, just a little bit right there. Just things where they shifted a little bit, but that's it. And then what I can do is edge coat, and it's done. I mean, look how cute that is. Oh my gosh, I love this vinyl. Let's go on to the next one. Our second one is going to be a modified version of sort of like the new 5x7, not just 5x7, this one is for 5x7, but the side load add-ons that Jenny created for this pattern. Modified because somehow I forgot that my template that I have is the junior legal size, not the 5x7. So when I cut it out, I'm like, oh, well, that won't work. So I just had to tweak it. I cut it so that this will fit. I'm also, you can see I tried making one before like this. I do like how this kind of worked out. I have this velvet elastic. I unfortunately did my pattern piece upside down, so make sure you're careful with that. But as you can see with this, I did it so you just have 2 places here where you can either slide notes in, or I can slide both halves of the notebook in. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to do something similar to that. This one, let's move all of this off first for a second. We've got our exterior piece, as you can see right here. Pretty kind of nice flowers for the nice weather we've got now. This is not what it would normally look like. As I said, I did not use the right pattern pieces, so definitely if you're going to do one of these new add-ons, follow the pattern, but this should still pretty much work the way I need it to. Because it's a little different, I have a wider piece here, and I've got these here. As you can see, that's going to go there. It's going to go there. I am going to make it like I did this one here so that you can slide it in so you can see like that one. This one is wider right there, so we're going to do that. So it's going to go like that. And I am still going to add this because I think that's a nice little touch to add. I did change the size of that because I had to change it all. And I'm going to use this pink velvet elastic. So I will link in the description where I've gotten this velvet elastic. I've got it in a number of different colors, but I think that'll be a nice little pretty addition. What I will do before that, and you'll see it when I do it, is actually I'd already started to mark my lines there, but I will mark and cut 2 little slits here. So that'll help to anchor that elastic, but you'll see as we go through that. So this will be the second one that we're going to do. It's going to be a slightly modified version of the side load Moondance. The next Moondance we're doing is a modified version of the side load. Now it's modified for a couple of reasons. One, I cut the pieces out to the wrong size, so I had to fudge things a little bit to get them to work. But also modified because we're not going to be sewing down these 2 side pieces entirely. We're going to leave this side open, the inside open, so that you can slide your notebook in. That's the first part. Because of that, and we're going to be able to see underneath here, I've made this a little bit wider. The Decaville will be seen if someone were to look under that. So if that bothers you, you may want to put another piece of, maybe a thin piece of vinyl on there. And then the last thing we're going to do to modify this is we're going to be using some of this stretch velvet elastic so that you can close it. So the first thing I did was I did adhere this. This I've attached similarly to what we do with the other one. I've got double-sided tape there. I'm not going to be stitching straight down those sides there at the edges because I want to see what it all looks like when it's done, but I think that might be too far on the sides. We'll see. Just in case I don't sew right down there, I have put some glue in here as well. I really want to ensure this is adhered. So that's there. The next thing we want to tackle is the elastic. Now what I decided was I wanted my slits for it to be 1.5 inches from the top and the bottom. You can decide where you want it to be. So you can sort of see I figured out where half was for this and then half of this side, and I put a line here. I then decided I wanted, as I said, 1.5 inches from the top and the bottom. I just did little slits then. My elastic is 5/8 of an inch, so I started with that for the width. I ended up doing closer to probably half to 7/8, or half would be 4/8. Good, I can count. I did probably closer to 6 or 7/8. I think it's really more on the 7/8 side. It's not a full inch that I cut, but I just did a little slit. You could certainly do this the way you might do a hidden strap connector. So you can have it come down a little on the sides. It's a cleaner look overall if you want to do that. But I decided to just do a little slit in there. So I did it so it fit. You can see, there's a little fly that keeps biting me. There we go, sorry. There's a piece of tape that I put underneath here, and actually there's one above it there. That's to help hold the end of the elastic. The elastic then I've got coming through this side, and I also have tape there, so it's holding it. I have this little piece of tape here to show me how high up I'm going to sew. So I'm going to do a little square, hopefully it'll look nice, and then a line, a diagonal line through it. Excuse me. So with all of that, I think that should be strong enough to hold this in place. I don't have to worry about it coming loose. But you can decide. You can decide what you might want to do. Maybe you want to glue something down. Maybe you want to rivet it. You can decide how you want to do that. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start here. Now I am going to sew on this side so that I can see it, but that's part of the reason I marked that. I marked that there so that I would know essentially where the tape was on the other side. Or I'm sorry, not the tape, where the elastic ended on the other side. And I'm just going to go right next to that. So I'm going to sew a box around that. We're going to hope that, I think I'm going to bring my stitch length down because it's such a small space. I think it'll be easier. I'm bringing it down to a 4. I normally would be using a 5, but I'm going to use a 4. Let's hope it looks nice. Let's see how we look. Take the tape off. This just as a guide. There we go. That's not too bad. I think I'm not going to do a line through it because knowing me, I would probably, it would not look as very neat. Again, my goal here was just to sew this down. I think that looks good. So here, let's take a look. I think that's not too bad. Nice little square there. You can sort of see it on this side as well. It's sewn in. That's what I want. Okay, so now what I need to do is the other side. So you could, if you want, bring it around. How long should this be? Well, that's up to you. It depends on how tight you want it to be. Let me pull out this one here. So this is one that I made before. Let me get it on. So I made it. I mean, I'm not usually going to be putting a super thick notebook in here, so I made it so that it's kind of, when there's nothing in there, it's pretty, I don't want to say loose, but it's not super taut either. But it can stretch. Obviously, it's elastic, so if I put something thick in there, it shall hold it without a problem. This, if we look at this, hold on, it's twisting a little. There we go. Okay, it's very loose here. So I basically, you can see here what I did. I think for this one, I want it to be similar to that. I don't want it to be very tight or taut when I do this here. So what I did is I started here, and I had a longer piece. I already trimmed it down. I started it within in this side. Now, as you can see, I've obviously sewn it down. We're going to bring this around. And so what you just do is sort of, to be honestly, just eyeball it. I figured, I know I want it to go in here. I want to be able to fold it back, and I don't want it to be tight right now because obviously it needs to be able to stretch. If it's too tight here, one, you can see how it's going to start to pull there, but then it's going to be really tight when you have to close it. So I just kind of eyeballed it. And so I think this is going to be a good amount. I might trim it a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to tape it down here yet. That'll be once I know I'm ready. I'm going to stick it in. Now you can, of course, also stick it in this way. I'm going to still fold it around the other way so I can confirm that everything is straight, but you can bring it around this way. Just make sure it doesn't twist. I think this slit should be big enough. Yeah, this will work. So there. So I'm not going to pull it through that much, obviously. The goal is, let's see, I'll probably tape it right about there. I'm going to try to hold it and see if that feels good. Okay, yeah, I think, so you can see if I hold that, it's pretty loose, so I might pull through a little bit more. Let's pull up. There we go. I don't want to pull, see, I pulled too much. You can see here starting, hopefully you can see it's starting to bend. There, that's a little too much then, so I'm going to pull some of that back through. Just a little bit. I think that's good. So, probably pull. It really is just a feeling game. Let me see. Okay, I think I got it now. I think I got it where I want it. So I'm going to take my tape off on the inside. That's the first place I'm going to start. So I can tape this nice and flat. There we go. So there we go. So I've taped right there. Next thing I want to do is tape here. Now, I'm not going to sew it like this, but I wanted to tape it down so it's, you know, sort of everything is straight. So I want to make sure this is all straight here and that this looks somewhat straight here as well. And that's good. I'm going to really hold that down. Pushing that in. Okay. Now I can take this up. Still hold this there. And now I'm going to sew through like this. I'm going to pull this aside and I'm going to sew on. Now I do want to try to make sure it doesn't stretch and pull. So let me even clip it. Let's clip it right here to help it stay straight. And let me see, I'm going to get my little bit of tape again. I want to mark that. And I just want to do about the same as I did here. So on this one, I did a square that was about 3/4, not quite, 5/8 of an inch. And so we're going to do the same thing here. I think I marked the tape at 3/4 so that way when I did it, it was at 3/8 of an inch. And so I'm just going to find 3/4 on here, put down my tape, and the tape is just a guide, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to help me know, sew up to that point. And hopefully, so, you know, it provides a straight line to sew against too. There we go. Okay. So now I have that in place. So now I'm going to sew. Pull that. And I'm going to, if anything, to really ensure that this stays nice and straight, I can always pull this up a little here. It really is okay. I want as much slack here at the top as possible. Okay, let's see how we look. Let's take that clip off. That's fine. It's not perfect, but it's fine. Oh. Take the painter's tape off. But it does help. It definitely helped to keep that in place. There we go. Not too bad. So there we go. That's actually, let's see if it's like this. This is what it would look like. There we go. That's not too bad. I like that. So now we need to adhere everything together, and we're going to undo this. And in fact, if you want, you could clip it or tape it down, whatever you want. You just don't want to sew it. And we're going to put the other pieces on. And so right before, I'm going to put some double-sided tape on the edges. I'm going to do it just on the 3 edges of these, because as I said, we're going to have the notebook slide in. So I'm going to do that quickly. We'll come right back and we will sew this down. Okay, we're ready to sew it down. So as you can see, I adhered the 2 pieces. Just as we did the other ones, I had tape around the edges, just not on this side here, because we're going to slide the notebook in there. So that's all done. I did do a little trimming while I was at it because I could see this piece was a little bit longer. And so I trimmed that up already. Once I laid this down, I was able to decide, okay, where do I want to sew down the middle? And so I just measured based on kind of like, yep, that looks good. I figured out where half was, and it went over about 3/8 of an inch or so on each side. Maybe it was a little bit more than that. Might have been closer to 1/2 inch. But that I just eyeballed. That's all I did. And so now we can start sewing. So, and I'm going to start at the bottom. like I did before. As I mentioned, you may want to ensure that this is out of the way. So as long as you can feel that it's out of the way, you're fine. That's really what you want to ensure, is that you don't sew over it. Okay, 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Now when I get up to this side here, to the first edge of the flap, I'm going to backstitch well over that, because this is now going to be a place where there'll be some stress, because we'll be taking the notebook in and out. So I'm going to come up to here and backstitch well. Okay. Let's cut these off. See how we look generally. I'll melt that down too. But let's see. Get a feeling. Yeah, it's stretched just a little bit right there, but that's an easy one to trim. Otherwise, I think the stitching looks pretty nice around the edges here. Let me just melt this little bit in the corner. There we go. Okay. And so now I have already, as I said, I've drawn the lines where I want to sew that down in the middle. Okay. This one's done. And I've got a little bit to trim up, but I'll do that before I do any of my edge coating. Let's put a notebook in. So I've got a 5x7 here. There we go. Now, if you use the actual dimensions that Jenny provides for the 5x7, it will fit properly. I mentioned when I was showing the materials, I did not cut these to the right size, and we basically made it work. It's in there. I didn't get the back side in yet because it's a smidgen small, but it works. It's in there, so I'm happy for that. As you can see, normally I can get it in a little further, but there we go. So you can see we'll just close that there. I liked the idea, let me open this up again. I like the idea of having that in there so that it really is more like a book. And so that's why I did it this way. And then when I'm done, I can just put the elastic on here. There we go. I think that, yeah, as I said, when I measured for my elastic, I figured out where my spaces were, where I wanted them to be. And then I did about, you could probably do an inch, have an inch overhang underneath, and then sew it down, and then just decide how tight do you want this. I'm liking how this one is. I like where I sewed those down. It sort of creates this spine, works really well with the spiral. Yeah, so there we go. Let's move on to some clear and jelly versions. Our third version, here, let's flip this over so you can see, is something I haven't tried before, so we'll see how it goes. It will be using clear and jelly vinyl. I mean, if you're like me, you kind of really got onto that whole clear vinyl bandwagon, and I've got tons of it now. I don't use it nearly as much as I thought I would. This is a great way to do it if it works, and we'll see if it does. And so what I've done is I've pulled out my clear vinyl. I want to have some kind of backing for it. I mean, I don't want to necessarily see my notebook cover in there. So I've got a piece of jelly vinyl right here as well. And as you can see, actually this will go this way, sorry. Yeah, this is where I'm going to slide in the notebook right there. And I'll have another one over here, but I'm going to sew onto that this little thing, and I thought that would look cute, so that's why this one is not clipped yet together. I thought it'd be easiest to sort of have this already prepped. It's simply the pieces per the pattern, and I have clipped them together. When it's done, I mean, this is probably gonna be one of the easiest ones. I mean, aside, you know, I'll have to sew this on here, but once that's all done, it's just sew around, you're good. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this one will turn out nicely. So that will be number 3. So these last few should be pretty fast because they're just jelly and clear. So this is the one we're going to do first. So I've already put it together. So again, I've cut this out. We'll see how well it fits because it's not quite the right size for the 5x7, but that's okay. So I've got a piece of clear, and then I've got a piece of jelly behind it so that it's got some backing to it, because I don't want you to necessarily see the notebook through that. I want you to have that sort of that, it looks like a cover then. I'm going to slide it in here again, so I just have another piece of jelly right there. But then on one side, I am going to do sort of that little pocket that we've had before. So I already sewed my tag onto it. I'm now going to sew around the sides. I'm not using tape this time because you'll see the tape with the clear. I don't mind it so much through the jelly, but I do mind it with the clear. So I have clipped it here. We're going to sort of hope nothing shifts too much. And so we're going to sew that down 1/8 of an inch from the sides. You want a back stitch at the beginning and the end of those, because those are stress points. Excuse me, those are stress points when you're putting things in and out, so you want to make sure they're strong. Okay. Now what we can do is sort of clip it in place. So you can see I'm just clipping a lot. Lots of clipping. I can, as with everything, I can trim things up if I have to after. I'm going to aim for those corners first. So I'm really just checking to see, can I get these corners as aligned as possible? And let's put that there, and then just start clipping all around. Let's do another clip here. Okay. Stretch it a little if I need to. And then, whoops, put a clip here and here. And something I didn't think about when I did the others, I don't know why, but because I'm going to be back, or I guess there was just one other, because I'm going to be back stitching here to really hold that in place, that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start there. I'm not going to sew anything down. At least I don't think I will. I don't think I'm going to sew anything to create a spine on this one, but we'll see. We'll see what I decide. Now, my other one was a little tight, so I am going, and I've got my narrow foot on here. I'm going to really try to stay on the edge of the inside, the outside edge of the inner part of my presser foot. That's what I want to describe. That's where I'm going to be aligning the edges of all of this with. But normally we just do 1/8 of an inch. Okay, let's see how we did. Cut these off. Okay, that's pretty cute. That's pretty cute. Look at that. Okay, let's see if the notebook fits in it. Oh, much better, much better. So, no, the one thing, because you can see, you can't just slide it in. So if you're going to do these, actually, what you want to do is slide it in, kind of have your notebook kind of like this, or your notebook cover like this, because that way you can slide one in there and one in here. And if I had a full-size table to sort of lay it down on, there we go. There we go. You can put it in like this. Oops. There we go. There we go. Perfect. And so that looks good. I don't think I'm going to, I like having with the clear vinyl, having it nice and smooth on the side. So I don't think I'm going to put those stitches down. I could always change my mind later. But yeah, I think that looks pretty cute. Oh, I just realized now because of the way I did this, either side really could be the front or the back. Right here are those back stitches. So I could flip it around. We'll pretend they're not there. But you can see how nice is that. You can still have your little pocket here. You can just have it like a book. Yay! I love how that turned out. So this, as I said, now let's think about what I did here. I probably could have still done my 1/8 of an inch and it would have fit just fine. This is with the clear and jelly. It just, I don't know, it has more stretch to it. Thinking if you were to do the normal 5 by 7 version, it might be a little big. So this is where you'll probably have to make it, see, and you might need to do a little trimming. You can just decide. Maybe you like it to be a little bigger. I mean, this fits it perfectly. But so that is what, number 3, number 4, number 3. Yeah, number 3. So there is our Moondance with clear and jelly vinyl. Oh, I am really liking that a lot. That one is so fun. You could definitely make this just like the version, I'm sorry, per the pattern. If you didn't want that in here, you could have it be like this. I don't think, though, I wouldn't do the slit right here because you can't put Decaville behind it. I mean, you can't adhere that to this early. It's going to melt. You can't do it that way. You could glue it, I guess, but you'd see it. That's what I guess if you did want the slit there, I would glue the Decaville Heavy down. Otherwise, I would just forego the Decaville Heavy and have it slide in the way you can see. I've got it here. So, okay, there we go. Let's go on to the next one. The 4th version that we're going to do is similar to this one that we saw here. So I posted this in the Sew Whatever Facebook group. This is a special cover that I made for my Discbound notebook. So this is a Discbound notebook. As you can see, they're discs. It's not spiral. What's nice is though, and I'll show you, you can just take this off like that. I used to use these extensively at work. I would have larger notebooks, letter size notebooks, but I would have different notebooks for all of my different types of meetings and projects. It just made life really easy because I could take notes in something and then take them out, put them into whatever I need, and then if I was done, I can just pop them in. There you go. Discbound. They're such nice notebooks. And as you can see with this, I can now put on my cover. Oh, sorry. There we go. Oops. There. So for this notebook, what I have is, and you can perhaps here, let's take this off again. I have a clear notebook cover, or translucent, I should say. So you can see, it looks like, whoops, it looks like that. And so I'm simply making a cover for it that I can slide in. It matches. I'm going to punch holes in it so it matches the holes that are there. And then I can put this on here. And so what I'm going to do for this one, pretty basic. We've got, there we go. Oh, sorry, a little pulling apart there. We've got this here. I thought this would be a fun pattern to use. It's some of that jelly vinyl that I have. And I'm going to pair it with some blue. So you'll see I've already sort of done some prep work on this one. We'll do some prep work on this one. It's just sewing it together so that it sort of stays, as you can see. And putting it on. It really is that easy. So this will be our 4th one. So the last 2 we're doing are for the Discbound version. So here's the Discbound notebook, which I showed at the beginning. Let me get this back in, sorry. There we go. And so it's something which we can just take off. We can put it on lots of other notebooks. Sorry, I'm really particular. Those weren't in completely. Let me get those back in. There we go. So we're going to be making this. What we're going to do is make these individually. I mean, you can see there's nothing that wraps around for this. Each one will fit on this cover as is. And so what we need to do is basically take our jelly. I've already put my tag on this one here. And you can see what I've done here is I have used tape on this because I don't mind with the jelly having the tape here. I mean, you can see a little bit, but I'm going to be stitching over that. So I have tape on here already. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to do just part at a time, like one side at a time. I'm going to do that side. I'm going to pull down a little bit on this side, not the whole thing, just enough so that I can have the corner attach. And so now what we're going to do is, oh wait, hold on, I have to think about this. Okay, just make sure you've got it in the right direction. I mean, if I'm putting the tape around these edges, that means this is the side that's open. Because I have my tag on there, I have to make sure I put it in the right spot so it's not upside down. And so we're going to put, I'm aligning it really well, if I can, as well as I can with that corner. And then I'm going to start moving it along the edge right here. If I need to, because I didn't put tape all the way across, I'll put some clips there. Now I can take off the rest of this one. I just wanted enough there to sort of help hold it in place. And I'm going to align it here. Aim for that other, oops, I can see some tape paper still on there. Aim for that corner. There we go. And then the top. This is ridiculously easy. All we're going to do now, well, once I get this aligned, sorry. There we go. Okay, so this is now ridiculously easy, crazy easy. So we've got our piece here, because I had a little bit without tape at the bottom, I clipped it. We're just going to stitch around the sides. That's it. We really are doing no more than that. It's as easy as that. No, we will punch holes in these, but for now, we're just stitching. So 1/8 of an inch. I didn't talk about, let's back this up though. Talk about how I decided the size of this. And this is where I guess I do need to take this off. So again, this is the beauty of a Discbound. Just go like that. Discbound notebooks can come in different sizes. So here is the cover, one of the covers on mine. Mine are from Levenger. It's a Levenger brand you buy online. You can also buy them at, I think at Office Max or Depot or whichever one it is now. I don't know about at Staples. I'm guessing they have something like this at Staples as well. And they'll be less expensive there. But these are, you can get them in, this is the junior size. You can get it smaller than this. You can get it larger than this. So you can decide what kind of size you want. And you get paper then for it as well. What I did was I determined when I needed to make this, we'll use this one as the example because it's done. I knew the edge was going to have to align perfectly with the side where the holes are. It couldn't go any further out because there are discs there. I mean, it would hit it. It wouldn't be able to turn. So I knew that edge would have to be perfectly aligned with the edge of the notebook. So you can see that's it, and the holes line up. For the rest, I just decided, well, I knew I wanted to do 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I knew I needed to give it, though, some wiggle room. So I measured, or determined, I didn't actually even measure it, I just guessed, and it turned out to work well. I added 1/4 inch all the way around, 3 sides. So one side here, it's flush, so I didn't add anything here, but I added 1/4 inch here, here, and here. And that's all I did. So that's for this part here, sorry. Then for the pocket, for this part, I figured, okay, well, I just sort of guesstimated. I put it where I liked it. I figured right there, and so that is, let's see, what's gonna, ruler, is it about 1 inch? Yeah, I just came in 1 inch. That's all I did. I made this piece, not peach, piece, 1 inch narrower than the one I did for the edge here. Sorry, I'm not showing it very well. That's it. So again, to make for the outside part, I have one side flush, and then I added 1/4 inch to each side. For the inside piece, 1/4 inch to the sides here, and I made it 1 inch narrower than the outside piece. That was it. That's all I did. So that's what I did with these two. So let's just sew around 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And this one, I can see I probably will need to trim that a little bit, but that's okay. We'll trim it up after. Back stitch well over this right here because that's a stress point. And you know what? I'm going to redo part of this. Hold on. Even though I did that back stitching there. You would think logically, oh, well, this is where it's, I can see the edge here. Well, you can see through the jelly here. I mean, I can see, hold on, let's do this. You can see where that is there. You can see that. It's better to have your sew from the top because that's your top stitches. So I'm going to do it there, starting just before the edge of my lining piece so that I can catch it. that's it for that one. Just trim those down. I have an extra hole there. That's okay. Okay, one done. Oh, sorry, one, as you can see. Let's do the other. Okay. That's it. All we have to do now is punch holes in it, and it's ready to use. Okay, let's go punch some holes. So our last one is going to be another version of, sorry, let me grab it here, the Discbound. So here's the Discbound. I've already taken one off, the cover off. So here's our Discbound right here. We're going to do another version of that. Again, I haven't tried this one yet, so I'm not sure how well it'll go, but we'll give it a try. I wanted to use some jelly vinyl, and because it's just so sorry. There we go. Clear vinyl, not jelly vinyl, clear vinyl. It's just so pretty. So I've got this clear vinyl here. I then also have this fun vinyl. It's this color I don't believe is currently available on Mormino, but there are some other colors similar to it. So it's a little translucent. If you were to hold it up, you'd be able to see through it just slightly, but it's got this soft backing here. And so I'm using that as the backing for the clear. I'm then going to also use it as a pocket right there, as you can see. And so that's what we'll be doing. I'm going to already prep that one, but we're going to do that here. We'll do some of that prep work, and I do just need to put my tag. So that will be the last one we do. So this last version for the Discbound is a little different because I wanted to use clear. Now for the clear, I wanted to have, like we did with the floral, it's purple background, I wanted it to have some nice vinyl behind it. And so I've got this pretty shimmery kind of translucent vinyl that I'm putting behind it. Now the thing that I need to do though, oops, I mean it does have a pretty backing, so I guess theoretically, you know, here's my pocket one, because I've got my, not my pocket, but it's more the sleeve for the side of the notebook. I could just have it be like this, and I mean, that looks fine, but I don't know, it looks prettier with the sparkle. And so what I'm going to do is put this aside first. You can sort of see here, it's got lots clipped, but I did also use some tape. You can see this is what it looks like on this side. And so what we're going to do first, this is sort of the backing piece to the clear, and I'm going to tape it down. So like we did before, I'm going to take off just a little bit here, a little bit from the top of the side, just a little bit, not all of it, just enough to sort of get things aligned. And let's see, there we go. So I'm going to aim for the corner, align my corner, need to get in the light, there we go. Try to get that nice, there we go. Well aligned there. Okay, now I can take the rest of this off and line the sides here. Okay, now I can do the bottom. There. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, remember this is the inside. This is really the outside. I'm going to line the clear with this. And so as before, I'm not using tape on this part because you'd see the tape. So I went to the corner, got my corner aligned. Now I'm going to just clip all the way around. It's another opportunity to really ensure that I got the two here. This one I could see it was a little higher on one part. And yes, I can trim it up later, but so you throw your clips around. There we go. Now, for this one, and we'll take a look in just a minute, I did with that second piece, as you can see, it's wider than the sleeve, and that's because I want it to just serve as a backing, and we're going to be stitching around all four sides of that. So there. Okay, I think we're good. There. That, oh, I can feel there's like a pucker. So I'm going to go like this. There. Just sort of smoothing it out to ensure that it's really aligned. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do is, as you can see, this is what it looks like. Oops, let's get this clip on it. There we go. You can see this is a little wider here. That's by design. I wanted to have as much sort of behind the clear as possible. What's not, doesn't have any backing, this part here, this is where we'll punch our holes. And so what I'm going to do, and I'm trying to decide where do I want to start. Let's start at the bottom. You're going to see the back stitches regardless. I'm going to come up on the edge here of my backing and then all the way around. So we're going to sew all the way around there, and then we'll be able to punch our hole, do our holes. So again, 1/8 of an inch on this one. Now, like we did on the others, when I can see right there at the edge, I want to back stitch over the sort of the edges of my pocket, my sleeve on the inside, to ensure that they don't come up when I put the cover in. Okay, let's see how it looks. Oh, that looks good. Caught everything. There we go. So now let's do the other one. There's that one. So like with the other ones, let's go put in the holes. So to mark the holes and punch the holes, we're going to need a special hole punch. So that's what this is. This is the Levenger hole punch. Oh, sorry. There we go. It's for a Discbound notebook. So you can see it's not a normal hole punch. You can get, doesn't have to be Levenger brand. I said this is Levenger. It doesn't have to be a Levenger. You can get them at office supply stores. They are pricier, although this is actually one I borrowed because I don't know where mine went. So I'm ordering myself a new one, smaller than this, cheaper than this. So I will link that in the description, but also some that you can buy if you were to go to an office supply store. So we will be using this to punch our holes, but first we have to mark our holes. And so I've got here, if I could pick it up, my cover, and I've got the pieces. I'm actually going to do all of these right now. And so we're going to take one, and I'm going to take a silver marking pen, although we'll see. Hopefully I will be able to see it on here, on this clear one. Look how nicely that fits. This is the first thing. Let's test. Let's see how this looks. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It fits perfectly. Let's look at this one. There we go. Good fit. Good fit on that one as well. Let's check this one. Yep. Perfect fit. And then on the last one. Yes. Nice fit. Great. So we'll leave it in this one and we'll see what we need, or we'll mark it. So what all I do is, and hopefully you can see, I mean, you can see, oops, sorry. There we go. You can see where the cutouts are on the insert, or on the cover itself. I'm not marking all of them. I'm marking, sorry, let me go over here. The first and the last on all of them. That's all I'm marking. I need to know where to start and to end. So hopefully you can see I've marked those. We'll see how well it does on the clear. It's hard to see sometimes on clear, but I don't need to see a lot. So might have to do something else for that. Yeah, I can see it. It's barely there, but I can see it. Okay. So let me mark these. And when you mark them, really ensure that you've got this pushed down as far as you can, because that's where you're going to want your holes to be. Oh, let's see, I don't see that one. Okay, I got to do that one a little more. Oops, there we go. Okay. Now we need to cut them. And so what I want to do is I can sort of see, hopefully you can see here, there are lines right there. I'm going to align, this is where it's a little challenging to show you. It'll be easier with one of the white ones. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, okay. Hopefully you can sort of see I'm aligning. I can move this out of the way too. I don't care so much. This is good right here when you need to cut holes for paper at a very specific size. I'm not concerned about that. I want this first one and the last one to be aligned perfectly as perfectly as I can with those center marks. Now the one thing to note, let me bring this over, when I put it in, the first one is nicely aligned. The last one, I don't know how well you can see, the edge of it is going to be punched as well. So I'm actually going to pull that up like that. Pulling the edge up. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see. I've pulled the edge. You'll have to trust me. So align the first one. First one should be fine. Nothing is on the side of that. But this one is the one where I've got to slide it up. There we go. Just so that it's not under one right there. I don't want that punched. And I will have to lay this down so I can do it. So I'm going to align those. You push it back just like with paper. You push it all the way back. And there you go. And so now, if I were to take my cover, put it in, I can see they're aligned. So now I'm going to do that with all of these. Let's look at all the Moondances we made. So first we have sort of the traditional, the original, that's it, the original, the OG Moondance. And so this is the one that was for the legal, junior legal pad size. We've got it with our pocket here. And I did omit the business card little spot here, but otherwise it's exactly the same. We've got the place where you can put the notepad right there. Fun. And so for materials, just so you know, so that I think I mentioned this is from the Emporium. It's not available right now, but keep an eye out for it. You never know when it might be back. And then we've got a little black outfit from Mormino. Tag is from Heartwood and Hyde. Thread, all of the thread I'm using today is also from Wizardry. So that's the first one we made. Second one was this modified version of the 5x7 side load. It's not the right size. I did talk about that. I cut it the wrong size, but that's okay. So I use this velvet elastic to close it. And inside, a little different here. This is where you see some more of those modifications. We still have the pocket right there. But instead of having a slit either here or here and sliding in your notebook, you would slide them in right there. And so change that up a little bit. So here is our modified version of that side load. We then did another modified version of it. And as you can see here, this is clear and jelly vinyl. And this is so crazy fun. I am 100% making more of these. I have to go look through my jelly vinyl. I've got a lot, but watch, I won't have the right colors, so I'm going to have to buy more. Brittany, I'll probably be ordering some. But super fun. And I cut it to the size I needed, and then still have the cute little pocket there. But otherwise, this is the example where you slide it in like that. And so it's more like a book cover that way. I love how this turned out. This one is so fun. This would be another fun one to figure out how to do something to help keep it closed. Maybe not sewing it in. If we look at this one, we can see, as we saw, I sewed it in right there. But maybe instead having something that just goes around it, making a loop of the velvet elastic. So got that. And then we did the covers for the Discbound. I am in love, and I'm sorry it's dark. My light, the extra light I have, kind of burned out, but there, not burned out, it's just acting funky. But there, you can sort of see it, I think, there. It's so pretty. I love how this one turned out with the clear and jelly. This is one, again, it's disc bound. So we've got these inserts. You do have to buy those separately for this to work. It's not going to work without it. The jelly and the clear especially, it's too thin. You need those inserts there. But I can take these off then. I can, if I want to, just go like that. And if it's time to change, although I'm going to change it back to this one, I love it. We'll take one of the new ones that we made, like this. Again, just lots of jelly vinyl. Slide it in. Easier to do it at a table, but there we go. And then pop it on. And you just pop it on like this. Okay, it takes a minute, but... And now you've got a whole new notebook. There we go. Got most of them on. There we go. New notebook. So that's the beauty of the Discbound. One thing to note, and I didn't think about it until just now, and I'll show you in a moment, I'm using, as you will have seen, these translucent covers. If you go and look at them at either online at Levenger or in an office supply store, you can buy them often with covers. So this is another one, same size, that I already bought with a cover. This will not fit into what I made because it's thicker. That translucent one is very thin. This is thicker. If you wanted to make it to cover these, you would need to make it a little bit bigger around. As I mentioned here, let me pull it up. I made these. Let's look at the pretty one. Let's look at the pretty, not that this one isn't pretty, but this is prettier. I made it 1/4 of an inch larger on 3 sides, and then it's flush on one side. That's how much larger this is. I probably would want to do at least 3/8 of an inch, maybe a half larger, all the way around, again, flush on one side, but that just to accommodate that extra thickness here of this cover. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to go that route. But otherwise, I think, we have this fun little assortment of our covers that we made today. Yay! Look how fun those are. There we go. I have to make sure you can see it. So thanks for joining. I hope you had some fun with these. Sorry I didn't show punching any more of these. My tripod is kind of on suddenly went whoosh. So I couldn't get it to do an overhead again. So I'll have to figure that part out. But yeah, a lot of fun. And thanks for joining. If you like, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.